Into the chapter that I found very courageous, chapter 30, I believe, entitled The Right Federalism. As you know, of all the subjects in the drafting of the new Constitution, none is more emotionally charged than the issue of federalism. I commend Kanak for daring to address this issue, which most sophisticated bound-century intellectuals consider taboo, for fear that it will draw the wrath of advocates of ethnic-based federalism, who are quick to portray any questioning of the rationale for federalism with certain ethnic agravicar as an expression of reactionary status quo boundary. While fully supportive of economically viable federal structures that ensure greater inclusiveness and better representation of marginalized groups, Kanak questions the rationale for creation of certain ethnic Bantustans. You might recall that term from South Africa, Bantustans, as being regressive rather than progressive. There is a lot of hypocrisy in the discourse on federalism in Nepal. Many leaders, including some Maoists, and not just Bayan Kshatris, but many thoughtful Nadesis and Janagatis, privately tell you that they do not consider ethnic federation or ek Nadesh, ek Pradesh as a sensible idea, but they keep mum in public. Kanak is to be thanked for opening up this subject for a thoughtful, dispassionate debate, which is what we need on all subjects in drafting a national constitution. Finally, I turn to a chapter which all of us, with certain human empathy, will readily agree on, but which is currently being pushed under the carpet and not being discussed at all. I refer to, I believe it is chapter 29, on victims and justice. There is a real fear, Kanak argues, that both the Maoist and the Nepal army would rather that we forgive and forget the terrible atrocities committed during the conflict and just move on. This is an issue we must look at from the victim's perspective, not that of their victimizers, who will find many reasons to justify their actions. Instead of forgive and forget, Kanak argues, and I hope most of us will agree, forgive perhaps, but investigate, prosecute, and never forget. That should be our message to better from 15 years of economic stagnation. That has been the real curse of the so-called People's War and response to it, of which all of us Nepalis are victims. There are many other chapters and sections in this book that are full of many inconvenient truths and interesting insights. I have whetted your appetite enough to want to read the book. Let me conclude by referring to the last chapters of the book, in which Kanak concludes on an optimistic note that in the end, the Nepalese genius for finding sensible solutions will prevail, and that we will have a progressive democratic constitution. But he worries about some continuing undemocratic revolutionary romanticism, and he insists that the new constitution must be an advance from the 1990 constitution, not a further regression. Now when I read that, I said, come on, Kanak, is there a real fear that we could have a less democratic constitution than that of 1990? After the great people's movement and revolution we have gone through, you must be kidding. Then I read the 1990 Constitution again, juxtaposing it with this draft Constitution that was presented as containing the most progressive ideas for the 21st century People's Constitution. And yes, I can see that, God forbid, it is possible for us to go backwards even as we recite progressive slogans. And just for comparison's sake, I went on to the internet and read the 1998 Constitution of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Let me quote a couple of articles from that Constitution for you. Article 66 of North Korea's Constitution says, and I quote, all citizens who have reached the age of 17 have the right to elect and to be elected, irrespective of sex, race, occupation, property status, party affiliation, political views, or religion. Wow. Although I have been to North Korea many times, I did not know it allowed different party affiliations and political views as you wish. And I quote Article 67 that said, citizens are guaranteed freedom of speech, of the press, of assembly, demonstration and association. The state shall guarantee conditions for the free activity of democratic political parties and social organizations. Please note, North Korea too apparently followed a multi-party system, provided they are democratic, obviously as defined by the ruling party. This is the danger. I see a multi-party system suggested in this draft constitution without the acceptance of pluralism. We cannot really address issues of social justice, equity, inclusion, and all the other advances we seek in our new constitution in a sustainable manner if we do not accept pluralism. I hope that this book that Kanak is coming out with will inspire us, even in a small way, to strive for and to insist on a model of a new Nepal that seeks both socio-economic justice and political freedoms in a non-North Korean style and substance. Thank you very much.